And g'day guys, once again here I am doing a recording rather than a stream because I'm not quite ready to do a stream with this particular aircraft. I've had about half a dozen flights in it and I'm still learning a few things about it. Of course it's the Aerobask Phenom 300. It's been out 6 months or so, maybe a little bit less. Quite a nice looking aircraft, as you can see. It's actually, we're sitting now at Jakarta airport, and I'm going to do a flight down to take some tourists down to Bali, Denpasar airport, down to the flesh pots of Bali. Should be about just a bit over an hour and a half, I'd say. And as you can see, this particular aircraft from Aerobask comes with quite well. Look at this guy driving through the... What's he trying to do? Go around me or through me? Get out of the way. I'm not going to move, mate, so you're going to have to move. Now, you blocked my view, of course. But yeah, it's got quite a few, call them little perks and accessories. Static things like... witches hats and chocks, and the cargo doors open up, and as we'll see in a minute, so do the couple of other doors here for GPU and or for the loading the fuel in. Now there is a little bit of preparation to be done with this aircraft. My advice, if you're trying it, it's a good idea to use a checklist, because it's a little bit more involved than some of the other small commuter aircraft. So just to give you an example, now I'll just drop inside and we'll have a look in the interior of the flight deck, which as you see, G1000. So for all you guys who like the G1000, this one pretty well does it all. There's probably a few more little extras in it to make it interesting. An unusual looking, I'm not quite sure, do they call that bullhorn or a bullhorn yoke? Certainly different from what we're used to in the bigger aircraft. So the very first thing that you need to do is to have a look at the checklist to get an idea. Now there's two of them that are available, and I've already got both of them. Well, one of them comes with the aircraft under all the documentation, but you can also download a CS list for X checklist, and you can see just from that all the different sections you've got to go through when you're going through the flow. What we'll do, we'll open it up, and the co-pilot's voice is on, which usually if I've got a new aircraft, I pretty well always have the first officer's voice going, and then after a while when I know my way around it, I don't bother about that. But there's one thing about this, and I'll just move it on to the next panel, if you want to call that, or chapter, or checklist section.
Next initial.
So what they've done here is they've put details all the specifications of the aircraft. If we go to the next one.
All static elements in place. Passenger door open. Baggage FWD and aft doors open. Open GPU panel.
Okay, he stops there because you're expected to do that to open it. Now this list goes on and on and on, and it's very, very comprehensive. You'd have to give full marks to the guy who made this C list. If you want to do everything by the book, you would probably use this one. But if you want something a little bit shorter, then you use the one provided by Aerobask, which I'll bring over here. And you'll see it's a lot on the left here. It's a lot shorter list. It does tend to miss out some of the things that the other one does, but this is one that'll probably get you in the air a lot quicker, and that's the one I'll be reading off as I go through everything. So I push this over to one side on my spare screen, or one of my screens, so that it doesn't clutter up what's going on here. So I'm just reading off the checklist now, and it says pre-flight and tests completed. So it's assuming that you've gone through everything, made sure everything that is off, all the switches, and it does. You go the comprehensive checklist. He'll go all the way through all these here to make sure everything's off. Down here, the lot. But with the smaller or the shorter checklist, the first thing they want me to do is to open up the oxygen what it's called push to restore. I mean, in other words, supply oxygen for the crew and for any passengers, right? It does say oxygen press dispatch, which I'm not quite sure what that is. I can't seem to find it. I thought it may have been pushing something here so that you could hear the oxygen go, make a sound like a whooshing sound, but it doesn't. I'm not sure what that is. Now it also says the electrical panel, right? So this is the electrical panel here, and it assumes that you switch on your batteries. As soon as you do that, and if you go up to the screens, you'll see they start to light up. And so you get your PFD and one MFD and another PFD for the first officer. The first thing I do is go and have a look here. Make sure the AIRAC is up to date, which it is, 12th August 21 to 2nd of September. And that'll roll around quickly soon again. Credits are there. So to get rid of that and and in the background you can hear the lady doing her tests. That was the TORS test first, and then comes this TCAS test. You'll hear it. Yeah, it passed. I think I might just turn up some of the interior sounds so you can hear these things. I don't know what. Oh, hang on, I know why. You've got to move that out of the way. I'm just turning up just a little bit. I hope it doesn't drown me out later. All right, so everything's lit up now. Of course, if you just want to sit there and run everything off the battery, sooner or later the battery's going to fade out on you. So obviously the best thing is to put on hook up the GPU, and to do that we click up there to bring up this tablet with all the headings, v-speeds, options, sounds, and about. Obviously anybody who buys this aircraft will be able to look through all of those. Now we want a GPU, so we come down here and it says open the GPU panel. So we'll go outside and we'll have a look and try and get this out of our way so we can see it. Actually, I'll move it now, and then I can open it up. Well, actually, you can either in that particular tablet. Where are we? Here we go. You can actually open up the open up the GPU panel from here, within here, and you'll see that just opened up, or you can actually open it up externally as well, so you don't need to come in to flick that if you don't want to. So we'll open it up. There we go. And ground power unit, hook it up. There we go. Simple as that. Now if you decide you just want to shut the door while it's hooked up, why you'd want to do that I don't know, but some sort of a safety thing. If you do it, you'll see it closes, but then the GPU disappears. Now while we're outside, I'm going to clear away all the static elements. That will include your chocks and a few other things, and also your engine covers, as you see there. So let's just get rid of that. It's gone. Okay, don't need to keep this open while we jump back inside. But what we must do is make hook the actual power from the GPU up. So we've got to hit this button here, and it means now that the GPU is in use. And how do we check that? We just go down here, and if you look in here, this is the the electrical panel. It comes up. You see down here that there's 28 volts being supplied by the GPU, and the battery's supplying 28.5 volts. They're both pretty close. So once you've hooked that up and got it going, you don't need this up here anymore. So basically this stage we're powered up. So what I do now is get the flight plan in before we start worrying about fuel and then loading our passengers. By the way, on the left here we've got some sort of annunciator panel built into the PFD, and it tells you all the items that are still off or still to be that the ones are connected. For example, the GPU is connected in white. Everything in white, I assume, is off, and all the yellow ones have to be switched on. But we'll come back to that. Okay, so two things about the G1000, and if you already know everything about the G1000, you don't need to listen to me. You'll understand what I'm doing as I go along. But for those who aren't quite familiar with the 1000, hopefully this will show you how it works. On the left, by the way, we've got our instrument readouts, you know, things like N1, ITT, oil pressure, fuel temperatures, fuel transfer rates. We've got oil temperatures, also advices on spoiler closed, that our gear is down. Then we've got cabin altitude, and in there we'll have pressure for our air conditioning, etc. Flaps up, roller yaw, Neil's. I don't know why that's sitting over there, but this will be our pitch here, and as you'll see later on, as long as we keep that in the green, we should be right when it comes to departure. Getting back to this fellow here, there's a lot of duplication done up here and down here. It just basically means that if you want to do your programming and all that sort of stuff, you don't have to do it up here. You can do it down there. But I'm in the habit of doing it up here for so long. I find myself sort of ducking backwards and forwards rather than sticking to one. But anyway, just come down here. We're going to put up the flight panel. Now, the first thing you'll see is Whiskey India India India, which is the ICA code for Jakarta. Some guy just drove through the aircraft there. Okay, so it's basically telling you the aircraft is aligned where we're sitting at the airport. Whiskey India India India. Now, as far as the actual route is concerned, if you want, yes, you could put in the destination down here as the next one, but then it just means you've just got to fill in between and keep pushing it down out of the way. You may as well just start putting in your flight plan from this position here. Now, of course, if you've got you've got a company route from SimBrief, you don't need to fill in all these things, but just pardon me for a second here. I've got to there we go. I didn't want to cough into the microphone. As I was saying, if you've got a company route, you can actually use that, and to do that, if you just click on there, you'll see up comes your saved routes. And I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of routes there. To go down, all you have to do is highlight the top one and scroll, and it'll take you all the way down. I've probably got a Jakarta to down there we are, to Jakarta's Whiskey India India. I thought I had one down at Bali. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I have got one, but that's an old one, but I don't want to use that one. So we'll just clear out and go back to, hang on, that should come off. Clear and go back, flight plan. Try it now. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so we're just going to start entering in some waypoints. Right, where do I get my waypoints? Obviously, SimBrief. So I don't need to flash those up, but I'll just read them out and you'll get the picture. Okay, highlight Whiskey India, 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 come down to there, and well, this is where this pad down here is just so handy compared to the old way. Remember, you have to click that outer wheel first and then enter in, go through all the alphabetical numbers, and then hit enter, and then to the next. This saves you from doing all of that. Now the first waypoint I've got, hopefully it shows up, is just Charlie Alpha, and you'll see down here location Indonesia, so you've got to guess it's pretty right, and all you do then is you just click enter twice. The first one just identifies where it is. I don't like the intersection Sri Lanka though. That's another CA that exists somewhere in the world, obviously. Somewhere in Sri Lanka there's a CA, Charlie Alpha. There's one in Gola and one in Canada. But we obviously want the Indonesian one. So we'll hit enter again. And again, I didn't hit it the first time, but there we go. So you can see CA's already propagated into the route. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have an airway. I believe, it's been a long time since I've used the 1000, but I believe some of the earlier versions you could not enter in airways. You had to find out the waypoints and the airways and then just enter them individually. But this one now, or maybe has always, and I didn't know it, this one now allows you to put in airways. You hit main, you drop it down to load the airway, and the one we're going to be looking for is T3. Enter it, and there it is down there. So we scroll down to T3, we hit enter. Now obviously the next thing is the waypoint that we should be jumping off and going in on another airway, and in this case it's A and Y, Alpha November Yankee, so it's there, just 2 down, and down we come, hit enter. And that's all we need. Load it, and then it goes. So you see that here's the airway in between Charlie Alpha and Alpha November Yankee, but that'll drop us off into that waypoint. Now, would you believe there's another airway straight after Alpha November Yankee, and to do that again we hit our menu button again. We come down to load the airway, and we're looking for Golf 461. And it's right down there, so we can scroll down to Golf 461. Yep, that is a 6. Enter it, and we're going to be getting off at Bravo Alpha. And that's down there too, so we're lucky. All of these are working out nicely. We enter that, and again you can see there's Bravo Alpha waypoints in other places. Enter it in. So here we go again. There's that T3, T3, and the G64 one here, up there. Sorry, and why did I put it up there? It's a bit odd. I would have thought it'd been T3 would have been up there. Before Golf 461. Enter it. It's better than what I was doing before, so we can double check all this. Let's just go back up top. Okay, there's our Jakarta down to Charlie Alpha, airway to Piala, airway to Annie, airway to Bravo Alpha, waypoint SBR, and what? Finally, it looks like it's right. know what was happening there. Now what I might do is just check on my little map to see whether that makes sense, because as long as it's in a reasonably straight line, and looking at a little map, there's your Alpha November Yankee, there's your Bravo Alpha, and down to Mov. There's something that's missing. There's Movmo. Although it was not indicated in this particular route that I just did from here, it wasn't in there. Whether it's in some of these others. Okay, that really slowed me down. I spent far too much time on that, but it's done. It's done. Okay, now the other thing is we should be able to put in our SID. Now, according to SimBrief, we'll select our departure. It's going to be the first waypoint's going to be Charlie Alpha, as we've seen there before, and it should line us up for runway 07 right. So down to Charlie Alpha, which should be sitting there all by its little self. Charlie Alpha, it's going to be Charlie Alpha 2B or C, so I'm not quite sure which one, but a very quick check here again. According to SimBrief, it's Charlie Alpha 2B. Enter that. Load it. Okay, so that'll get us out of town. You can see all the waypoints here along the way. There we go. It's even given us an outline. I get rid of this. It'll show our route out. Just come down on that a bit. So we'll be coming out, doing a mad right-hand turn down to Charlie Alpha. At last, at last. Let's get back to the nitty-gritty. Next thing we've got to do is a couple of things. First off, find out what the Q&H is going to be for Jakarta, which is the winds are at 31 degrees. Oh no, that's 31 degrees outside temperature. Make a note, and our Q&H is going to be 1009 hectopascals. Our transition altitude is 11,000 for Indonesia. Our airport length, our runway length is 12,000 feet. I'm making note of that for a reason. And our wind direction, it's 340 at 7 knots. Right, first off, let's put in our Q&H so we don't forget. Now we can either scroll this number in, 1009, like so. Go up here and put it in our backup. That gets that out of the way. So now we can do our flow up to a certain point, because we've got to do some other calculations. First off though, nav can come on. Alright, I'm going to get the generators into auto. Cross bleed can go to auto. Bleed is to auto. We're going to do our stall tests, fire tests, so let's bring this all the way around to fire. Fire. Okay, that's your fire one. The next one is smoke detector. It shall say fire, not smoke. Fire. we'll go around to our stall test. I believe that if you show the yoke, it might actually show where it's shaking it. So let's see what happens. There you go, see that? Okay, so then go back to off, move him out of the way. There he goes. Pumps are on auto. I usually like to flick them to on. Hydraulic pumps, I'm not going to put them on just yet. We'll come across to our heating. We'll put on our windshield. Right. These are our engine ice protection and for our wings. So we'll come all the way over here, and what will happen is we put this pressurization ECS over to both. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is have a look in here to see our annunciator to what needs to come on and to be closed. You can see GP connected, the shed bus is off, so I've got to, mustn't forget to put our emergency lights on. Alright, next thing and this is where all the fun and games really start. We're going to have to work out our fuel. And to do that, we'll come back into our pop-outs and we'll have a look and see what we've got aboard. And looking at SimBrief, they've given us a block readout of 1546, which means we're going to split that between the two to get a total in. This is our kgs, by the way. So we'll keep bringing them up until we get a total of 1546. We need quite a lot for this trip, don't we? And get in there, 1546. How about that? There's slightly more in the left tank than in the right tank, but that's okay. It's not going to make a lot of difference. Not a lot of. You can see there's only about 20 kilogram difference there. Now, our pilot passengers and luggages, there is a way to work this out. I'm not quite familiar with it. Somebody like V1 Simulations, he knows exactly how this works as far as weights, but I do know that if you keep going too high, oh, it didn't happen that time. I didn't get any red out. But let's say we've got a total of about 2,000 pounds in passengers and luggage. And if we look down here, oh, that's right, the total mass. That's where you got to watch it. I believe you got to bring it so that the red doesn't come on. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong there. So we'll just bring it under with a total mass there of 8,325 kilos, which I make a note of. And why do we need that? Well, we've got to go down and load the fuel. So we go down and bring down our camera to there. We can open up our fuel panel. And by moving those across, I believe it does load the tank for you. But you can fiddle around here and move the tank quantities around from left to right, whatever. But I know this comes on and we put the battery on and it says waiting full, and it says 1545 kilograms. So that's close enough to what we wanted anyway. I don't think there's anything more we need to do. We don't need to refuel it because it's saying total is full, and I have to assume that means that you can fill the tank up, or you can just go by the total that's in there already. Again, that's something I've got to read up on. I must admit I'm not quite up on that. Turn that off, we close. Oh, hang on, should have undone that. Try that again. There we go, total 1545. And I'll accept that, and I'll close this up now. And we'll close the tank up, and we can close the door. Now 154, let's go inside and have a look, because it should be showing that on our fuel. So I want to make sure I've got that amount of fuel on board. So we hit that up, and it says here 1547, and we haven't used any yet. Our GPU's just powering the aircraft. No, engine's not starting, so no particular concern. So that's done. And finally, what we've got to do is find out our V-speeds. And to do that, I'll bring over my, I'll use it out of the AVI tab. In AVI tab here we've got all our aircraft manuals, so if we go down to performances and we jump down to here, this will help us set our V-speeds. So just going back to our maximum weight before, our mass, it was 8323. So you can see that for flap 1, dry runway, no ice protection, it's simplified takeoff analysis. 8323 will fit under that particular column. Our outside temperature was, I messed that up, I should have written that down, 31 degrees, sorry. So basically what we do is we come down to 31 degrees, or the closest up. Usually you go up, and if you look at this 1358 figure here, where am I, 30, 31, we'll take it up to 35. It's just here underneath, you'll see 111 V1, 111 V2 and 120 for VFS, and that's what we put in over here. Drag it across. Again, I think I got this right, and that should be 120. So that's their V-speeds, and they should be automatically set in now from this tablet. Alright, finally getting somewhere. So what we do now is we move, we just get our airport in, just so we can see what we're doing here. Whiskey, India, Jakarta. Airport. This is a big airport, very big airport. And somewhere down here is the airport details. And the next thing we'll want is to have a look at our departure. Hope it's not too complicated. It just gives us a runway departure, which is okay. In this case we're going 07 right. So this should show us our departures. Move this fellow out of the way. I think we're not quite finished with him, no. So they're giving us multiple departures on here, which I don't mind. Airport is here. We'll be coming out this way and heading down to Bollock, I would imagine. Yep, that's probably where we're going. Well, hang on a minute. No. Here it is, Charlie Alpha. So, okay, taking off here, probably coming straight out. There's an intercept point there, and over to Charlie Alpha. Here's our airport diagram. Here we are. We're sitting at a remote apron, and 07 right is there, so we've got to bring ourselves down here to line up. I can go out of the way for the moment, and then we can now go over and do what I've been trying to do for the last half hour. Close the passenger doors, passenger baggage forward left hand, passenger baggage forward right hand, close the aft baggage, camera we don't need to close now. We won't be closing GPU until we start our engines, which I'm about to do at last. And this is what we do. Let's open up hydraulics. Let's put our engine starts to on. Go back and make sure our pumps, I like them to be on rather than auto. And we brakes are on, speed brakes closed, flaps are up. Everything's good. We'll start right engine first. Over here, check our N1 rising, now outside. Sounding good. I might just up the sound a bit there. Don't want it too quiet. It is a quiet aircraft, by the way. This guy, he keeps running me over with all these trolleys. Must think I still need some baggage, but anyway. So that should be okay. Everything settled, and then one settled, so is our ITT. Fuel flow's working all right. We're even starting to use up a bit of fuel. Let's go down, start the left engine. N1 rising. Now, I know it does happen. It's happened to me, it probably happened to a lot of people. If by any chance you start rolling off with the GPU attached, it will just automatically detach, but we've got to try to get in the habit, haven't we, of disconnecting it. So to do that, we go down here. We don't want it anymore. Okay. So if we look up at our electrical setup, it's disconnected and easy to get. I'll get this out of the way. Easy to get rid of it is now just to hit that outside, and we shouldn't have it anymore. There we go. We're ready to roll. So where do I go? Yep. It's interesting. We'll have to find a way to go. Just looking at one of my maps. Yeah, it's going to be a right-hand turn. Somehow we've got to get over here onto this taxiway here and back down there. I don't want to call for a pushback, but I might just do a left-hand turn, come around. Hopefully you won't hit this guy. Yeah, I don't really want to get the tractor here, although, damn it, I haven't done it in this aircraft, so let's do it. Let's try get a pushback. This is the first time I've done it. Ooh, all the way there, okay. It's a long pushback, but
ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready. Ground to cockpit, towers driving up.
Look at this nice little BMW sitting there. That's the captain's personal transport.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Oh, look at my first officer. Yeah.
Winching strap and adapter in position. Release parking brake when ready to start pushback.
She looks alright, a nice smile on her face. She might. Oh, look at this guy running over. Look at him. Oh, gee whiz. This guy's seeking attention for sure.
Starting pushback.
Ah, that leaves you behind, mate. Notice she didn't tell me I could start engines. Yeah. See how that wheel's sitting up on the dolly or trolley or whatever you call it. Flaps 1, by the way. I'm just going for flaps 1. We've got a long runway, so we could probably do a flaps up departure if we wanted to. Like I said, that's quite a big airport. As you can see there. And that's
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
That's freeware too, by the way.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Now these aircrafts are fitted with indicated airspeed. So what we actually use to climb is we use flight level change, which means I should actually put in our altitude that we're expecting. In this case, it's flight level 290 now.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have fun up there.
Yeah, because ACT isn't on, and probably would vector us to 10,000 or something first. I'm just going to put the full flight level in here. Now we can actually just use our keyboard to do that. You just click on where the altitude's got to go, and you just hit your keyboard and hit enter, and in she goes. So we've got our QNH in, we've got our altitude. At this stage we can start looking at what sort of a speed we want to be climbing at. Now I use anything up to around about 200 knots as a climb out, because I think it's sort of a lot easier on your passengers. This thing, of course, it'll just zoom up like a rocket. Which, okay, if you want to get out in a hurry, by all means. Anyway, we're right to go now that she's cleared off. And we'll put on our taxi light. Strobe, yeah, I'll put it on. And we'll disconnect our brake. We'll just do a quick check on our flow controls. All the way left, all the way right, forward, back. And my horrible old foot pedals here. Checking brakes out, and that's our rudder control steering. So off we go. Now I can make the noise inside a little bit louder. But it is a quiet aircraft, there's no doubt about it. And once she gets going too with taxiing, she wants to just roll along and speed up. Steering is pretty good. My pedals are a little bit oversensitive, and I don't seem to be having a lot of luck getting it right. Thrustmasters. If I had the money, I'd buy a much more professional pair, but they are pretty expensive if you want good ones. This'll do. And the fact of the matter is that once you're off departing, you don't need to touch them much after that. Next time would be if you're coming in with a crosswind and you need rudder control. Got a nice day here. This is current weather. So we just roll our way down to the end of the runway. There is another taxi to the left there, but I'll take this outer one. This is the Aerobask 1. Or is it? Yeah, it's a Sierra Papa 1. And it looks like we've got some static stuff on the right here. See how she starts to get going. See how way's that. I recognise that one. It's Triaya Air City Link. I think this is the cargo area. Oh, sorry, maintenance. It's a maintenance area. There's a Garuda. Some more Garudas. Now we could probably take this one because we're looking at 12,000 feet of runway. So I don't need to go completely to the end. So we're just going to turn off on to Sierra Charlie 8 and over to Sierra 8. I'd hate to think how much one of these costs in real life. They're got to be in the millions, haven't they? When we're in the air, we might just have a quick look back in the cabin area, which is pretty good. We can put our landing lights on. Now we're there. Now let's do our test.
Takeoff. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I know that means everything's okay to go.
Approaching 07 right.
I'll take your word for it. So we're pretty well right to go. Everything's looking good. Now this aircraft is, as you know, it's
on runway 07 right.
It's fitted with toga, so what we do is we bring our throttle all the way forward to toga. And we hit the toga button. Watching our speed, it's live, coming up to coming up 80 knots. Keep steering properly, coming up to V1 at 111. And there's V1 and it's liftoff. Rotate. Going well. Gear up. I should have put the runway heading in there, which is something I forgot, but anyway. Let's just line her up. Get a bit of trim.
Trim.
Yeah, thank you. It'll come down a little bit. Taking the right, looks like a bit of a crosswind there. And we can now hit our, we'll go now first, we'll go autopilot, yaw damper, and we will hit our flight level change, and we'll have a look at the speed, 163. I'm going to boost that up to about 185. And we should be coming back online. Let's have a look here. GPS autopilot, flight level change.
High speed. High speed.
Come back a bit on the throttle because we should be coming back to climb.
High speed. High speed. High speed.
That'll slow down and she'll be quiet.
High speed. High speed. High speed.
Should be.
High speed.
She should be doing that. I'll just hit the select
High
again.
Speed. High speed. High speed.
Come back down again.
High speed. High speed.
I'll drop speed select down a bit.
High speed. High speed. High speed. High speed. High speed. High speed.
Put up our flaps, that'll help. That's why it was showing high speed. Forgot to put the flaps up. Make sure I got everything up now. Okay. Should have followed the checklist, I know. Now we can boost it up. Okay. Up to, let's go up to 220 knots. Notice how the nose comes down just to build up speed. Transition height 11,000. Don't have to touch anything yet. So everything seems to work really well on this aircraft. You know, just for an example, it was showing, because I had the flaps down, that I was overspeeding the aircraft even with 185 knots, because I had the first notch of flaps down. Once I took the flaps up, that ribbon disappeared. Another thing I forgot to do is I should have put the oh, it's on, it's already shown up into the seatbelt sign. Should have been on, I suppose. Not quite sure what this is about. I'll have to read up on that. I always thought it's on or off, but you've got these other section belts on. And away she goes. Coming up to 10,000 feet mark, which means we can pop up here and just turn our lights off. Everything else is good here. I haven't had a chance to fly this at night to see exactly how the lighting works, but it's from what I can see, it's pretty good. Oh, that's for the cabin, not for the cockpit. Here's a cockpit lights here. Look at that. These just operate independently. This one up here too comes on. So it'd be interesting to see what it's like at a night flight. I reckon it's going to be pretty good. Let's have a look around, check here everything. Outside temperature. I know it's. I know where I can find it in status, but so we're still looking at total outside temperature of 6 degrees. So no problems with icing just yet. And we're up. We're probably above our transition height. We are. So how do we put on our standard baro? We go into PFD and hit that, and you can see it's standard baro. But you've got to change this one manually. And the one on this side, it automatically switches over when the PICs, when his baro is set, when his QNH is set. So this is just a little indicator of how things are going with hydraulic pressure, with oxygen, 1800 psi, emergency brake pressure. Here's your battery popping out, 28.5 and 2 batteries. I think with the generator, oops, what's our generator doing? Let's have a look at electrical. Yeah, our generators, our buses, 28.5, Gen 1, Gen 2, 17 amps. Like I said, this has got everything. Here's our fuel status, usually 225. As we get higher, by the way, we'll have to watch our flow rate. You can see we're really going through at a rapid rate. We're nearly up to our totals for an hour, but that'll slow down once we get up to our cruising height. even now we can, we're not into the red when it comes to our N1, and we're down on our ITT temperatures as well, so we're not overstressing the aircraft. Inside temperature cabin by, sorry, that's a fuel temperature of 18 degrees. Pitch angle, not quite sure what this roll needle is doing over. But with autopilot on it, if it is trying to roll, autopilot should be keeping everything in order. And another thing we should do, obviously if we're on ATC, we go back here, we go into our XPDR. We've got 2000 entered in for our squawk, so we just put on Alt. That's something we should have done back on the deck, and also if ATC, and they would have given us a code which you can put in here. And another thing too I could have done was to put on the, just go back a bit, was to put on the timer and just start it by hitting enter. A bit late now, but part of the checklist do that. It requires you to put on the starter, start one engine, turn it off, put on the starter, start a second engine, and then put on the timer. Not quite sure why you have to do that, but anyway, you can see here we are getting up there pretty fast. We're climbing at a rate of just over about 1600 feet per minute. Obviously, as we start to get up into the atmosphere, that rate of climb should drop off a bit. All the time the aircraft's trying to maintain 220 knots trimmed out so that it doesn't stall. So obviously it's figured out, well, I can climb up to 290 at 220 knots and just maintain a climb rate of 1600 feet a minute. And if I find that's it's a bit too steep, I'll just come back. I'm just looking at OBS. I've already been an hour 19 doing this recording, and I must apologise, but that business with the entering the route really knocked me back at least about a quarter of an hour. So really we should only be roughly about an hour into the flight. Then again, it takes some time up programming things, getting all your V speeds and all your weights, fuel, all that organised. And once we get up our cruise height, of course, we've got to pull our throttles back to max cruise, and you can actually, it doesn't have to stay there. You can drop it back if you think you're going a little bit too fast. I can come back to the auto on the ignition here. Nothing else I need to worry about. Here's our, oh, I'm not quite sure, I haven't sorted this thing out. This looks like what, brake? Is that brake or bank angle maybe? I'm not sure. It looks like it could be something to do with bank angle. let's have a look, make sure we're on course. Go to that. And not only that, we can look at our what do they call it again, moving map. And if we really want to, we can jump in here. We don't need Jakarta anymore. And while I'm here, I'll put in Denpasar. Oh, hang on. Okay, my mistake. That's the real name for it, the Gara Rai. There's only one runway into Bali, Denpasar. Although that's the name of the airport, Denpasar is the town next to it. There you go, Segulf Strip. That's our warning. We've got 1,000 to go before our cruise height. And remember, this aircraft doesn't have an auto throttle, so once we get up there, she'll want to take off. Yeah, so back here to this, back here, and let's have a look at our arrivals. And if we recognise a name, so Almovo's last, probably going to be the one. There we go. Oh, what runway? Yeah, according to SimBrief, we should be arriving in 09. I bet I know what happens. I programmed it in, then we'll have a weather change. That's the story of my life. So 09, let's have a look. Alcuda. There we go, there's the runway there. So we're coming in from Movno. I remember right, that's a big volcano there. So we're coming past the volcano. Osiva. Let's see if we've got that on our flight plan. Oh, I won't show, that's right, because I haven't put in the approach. Okay, 29,000, and you can see our speed is starting to climb up. So just come back to maximum cruise. It'll still keep going, speed up, but it'll probably even off somewhere around about, it'll change over to Mach in a minute. Should see the Mach come up soon. We'll just let it climb up, it'll just speed up slowly, and what we'll find is that our fuel consumption should start to drop off now. So we're not doing 586 kilograms an hour, we're now down to 340. So that basically means that we would have plenty of time left over if we keep at this rate. And yeah, we've used up 400 kilograms, and we're at our cruise height now, so we're not going to go through 1100 kilograms in the distance we're going. So just quickly, so that I can have a look and see what our approach is likely to be. off the fuel, and we'll go over progress. Yeah, we'll see if we can. Now, you can't get the full. You're not supposed to be able to get full stars on the G1000. It does an IAF approach for this type of aircraft. But let's have a look and see if it's got an arrival. And I don't think it's got an ILS approach into runway 07. I can check that up. You can either do it on Navigraph or Little Nav Map. Let's have a look. Now, it's going to be probably going to be an RNAV approach, but it's okay. (0927), 0927. So there's your runway 27. I should have it out now. Oh, come across. There we go. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's an RNAV 09. Okay. We'll see if we've got our waypoint, eh? That should be that. There's that MOV. Not sure what that should be. MOV 1E. MOV-M. That's our arrivals. Let me think here. MOV 1E is what I was given, but there's no MOV 1E. Let's have a look at this 1F and see what it's doing. No, that's going to be it for 27. I should have put 09. This will show it. And there we go. 1E. That was it. I got it right in the first place. We'll just have a look at this. Bring it up again. Flight plan. Okay, so there's our MOVMO waypoint. So if we follow in the arrival, it's going to come in to Osiva. I think I mentioned that. It should come into Lusby next, after Sarek, Lusby, Kuta, and then lines up with the runway. So we can actually use the arrival in this case if we want to. And if you look here, it's giving us our altitude approached heights, and even it comes, I'll just move that down one. You can see that the published approach at Kuta is 3,000 or above. So if we go to Navigraph, that's our approach, that's our airport. We'll come back here, go back there. Our approach is our RNAV to runway 29, and I'm guessing our initial approach fix is $3,000, 3,000 feet, if I'm right. There we go. So we should be able to use just the arrival to get the RNAV approach, rather than just do an approach. What would happen in the approach phase and not the arrival is that we would get I'd get some waypoints here. I'm not quite sure why they're not showing up here. There'd normally be 3 of them. One for approaches from the north, one for Australian approaches, and one for the south. They're not showing there. I don't know why. Probably be getting, let's have a look at my other map. Yeah, I'd be guessing there'd probably be some other approaches. Actually, what we can do, this is an exercise, let's see how far down the track we are here. Okay, we're heading towards PLR. It's done 9. Oh, we've got 74. Oh, there's 61. We've still got a way to go before we can worry about descent. So I'm going to fiddle around here and just change the progress over to the approach. We'll see what we get as our vectoring. Okay, so come down to RNAV 09 RNP, hit enter. Oh, right. So vectors, we'd be getting vectors if we had ACT, but the initial approach fix is Kuta itself, right? Which is what we're going to get with the arrival anyway. And if I was to enter in Kuta, or even enter in vectors, let's see what happens with the vectors. It's wanting our minimums, so okay, alright, we'll put those in anyway. Let's come back over here, whoops, click. Alright, let's have a look at our vectors, our decision height. It's 277 barrow. I'll probably lose this if I go back to arrivals, but not to matter. Someone wanting my phone. Get back to what I was saying, 277. Take it to 280, that's close enough. Hit enter. Now I'm going to load it and let's see what it shows us. There's the arrival. I should have, what did I do there? I've got to get rid of that. So the arrival is still in there. Kuta's there. Right, so it's picking up some different waypoints, but it's eventually coming to Kuta. That's on the way. That's with the go around. So what it looks like it's doing, it's following the arrival into Kuta, and it's going from the it's going then into the approach. But I think I'll just try today just for an arrival. I've done that before with some of the major airports where the approach in this aircraft is totally different to the arrivals. Let's just clear that. Just going to see if I can change progress just to arrival instead. This should knock out the approach, I hope. And there's mob 1E, so I enter that and load it. Bring up flight plan again. Oh no, it left the approach in. You know what, I'll just go with that. I don't think I can delete it out. Oh yes, I think I can. Delete the approach. That's how we get rid of that. And now I should be just left with arrival. That's what I was after. Now, what I probably have to do is, if we're going to be using VNAV, after I activate the arrival. Hang on, I think, can we activate the arrival? Let's try. No, you just go for the arrival. You don't activate it. It just means that when I'm using my VNAV, I'm going to have to activate for 3,000 feet or above at Kuta. I think I can do that. And I think to activate it, and we've got to hit enter. Let's see what happens. Yep, there you go. So what it means is that it's showing up already. And you can see here that using VNAV profile to 3,000 feet at Kuta. All right. Using 2.5 degree, that'd be 38 minutes. And what I might do is I'll bring this down. It should come down to, there we go. I can actually change that to -3. And you can see already the time has changed to 40 minutes. Whereas in 39 minutes, if I was at 2.5 or 38 minutes, I'd have to start the descent. But because I'm going to do a slightly steeper descent, 40 minutes before I have to worry about it. So I'm going to try and do that today. and back to our Navigraph. So 277 is our decision height. Initial approach fix is 3,000 feet. Should have our go around here, missed approach. Climb on course 087, now above 2,000, turn right direct. Going back to Kuta for hold with instruction by ATC. So if we're going to do a missed approach, I'm going to have to just vector myself around. Okay, so we're going to be coming in here. No, we're not. There's Kuta. Oh yes, Kuta there. Looks like we'll be coming in this way. And then over into Kuta. And we'll have to do an exit. Probably here if we're lucky. Okay, let's kill a bit of time. Flight level 290, cruising. We're up to 275, so that is on maximum cruising. So what I guess it's saying is that 275 is my limit at this height, because our fuel flow is looking good. The outside temperature is 23. I don't think there's any worry about ice, but I should have done this earlier, of course. I could have put on the engine protection here, and I don't think there's any need to put on the wing stabiliser because of it. And of course the annunciator will tell us that we've got both engine icing, anti-icing is on. And as a normal practice, we should always synchronize our heading to our current route. We can move this out of the way for a while because we don't have to worry about our descent for another 36 minutes. So push him out of the way, and we'll just watch ourselves here. Travelling across the north of Java. Okay, just to kill a bit of time until our descent. Let's just go and have a look inside this cabin. Aerobask are always pretty good at how they finish off their aircraft, and particularly the biz jets. Just move forward a bit here. Good idea if I move this. That's going backwards. Obviously this is a galley, and there's our stairs folded up. Some wine glasses, but no wine. Nothing here opens up from what I remember. Even down here, nothing seems to open. So we can't help ourselves to any food, unfortunately. Let's have a look over here. Notice how the engine sound changes there a little bit. Okay, so we've got some nice comfy seats here. I don't think, well, you can read the New York Times if that's your fancy. Pillow. I can't see where the chairs move, or the seats move. But in here we've got a little section, and we can control our blinds. We could either do it manually like that, or I believe if we hit that one there, they close everywhere. So look, the whole cabin is shuttered. Now this should be our lighting, so because we've got, I'm not quite sure, oh yeah, there's the lights on there. Seatbelt sign. Let's see if this lighting works. Not sure. Oh, what's it doing? Oh, look at that. It even tells us where we're heading. Flight level. And even the aircraft is halfway along the track, so that's showing about halfway there. That's cool, isn't it? And you can see it from this angle as well. I'm not quite sure with the lights whether that's got to be... Oh, there we go, just push it. So I'm not quite sure what this does here. That one. Oh, hang on, something went turned up bright, real bright. Oh, that just put that one on. Try that again. Ah, that's for the individual. Now, of course, over here, if we want to eat, there's a cup of coffee waiting for us, a drink here, and there's a repeat over there for that, for doing the lighting above. Looks good, doesn't it? How about that? And we can put the table away. You'll like this one. This is, I like this side. And what do we get when it pops up? We get our Abby tab. And it, well, it actually does, you know. I don't know whether I can get to it. Yeah, I will. I'll come back. And if you noticed, it's on and we can operate it. So even our passengers can have a look at what's on, what's what. And you can program it here too. See that? Now, that won't go off if you switch it off. That's cool. Not necessary, obviously, in a flight sim, but all these little extra touches don't hurt. And if the developer's prepared to spend his time doing it, their time doing it, why not? Yeah, we've got to head through the aircraft. Ooh! We get these engines there. Not a good spot to be, but there we go. So what have we got in here? Well, I suppose you can guess. That's the washroom. Let's go in. There's a mirror that doesn't show me for some reason. This side, of course, we can close. Can we wash our hands? Yes, we can. Although, we should do that second, shouldn't we? Yeah, we should do that second after we go there and after we flush. Yeah, put it down. And now we wash our hands. Unfortunately, you can't push the soap model. Oh, you also do get a view outside the window here, of course. You can have a look at the wing. Probably got to get over this way a bit. There you go. And one last thing. And this is a little something I like. Whoops, got too far. You go down here, and what do you see here? But and go forward a bit. Now that's all you have to see. I haven't got that exactly right, but that's the Dassault Falcon that Aerobask are doing. So I suppose they're doing a little bit of promotion here. Should be able to get a little bit better on top of that. And of course we know that's probably going to be becoming available soon, a 3-holer. I kind of go forward a bit. Oh, there we go. It's a better view, isn't it? Yeah, this is just a little bit of teasing to show us what's coming along, and that's one I'm probably going to really get. Last but not least, in here, if you really don't want to see anybody see you sitting on the toilet, you can close the door. There you go, that's our tour. One thing you can do, but it's an external thing, if, I'll just go over here, if you don't, if you think the cabin, the cockpit area should be shut off, you can actually do that just by bringing this up first. Hide cabin, and the concertina door comes over and gives you a bit of privacy. But if you're on the outside, having a look outside, all the windows are blacked out. So I assume you probably can't get inside to see that. Or can you? If I go forward, oops, that one. What happens if I hide the cabin? It blacks me out, look at that. That's real blackout, isn't it? And then I suppose if they want to, they can put on their lights, can't they? Can they? Can't even see it anymore. Oh, that even comes down. Oh God, what is that? Hang on, let's go back and get out of there. Oh, right. So it's like a screen. And that's neat, isn't it? Now, so that time doesn't get away from us, let's have a look at our flight plan and see how long we've got to go before we start our top of descent into Kuta. Still another 24 minutes. So what I might do is I'll just put this on, the recording on pause, and I'll come back about sort of probably about 5 or 6 minutes before we commence our top of descent. So until then, I'll see ya. Okay guys, here we are back again. I've just dropped on my microphone. I hope it's okay. Anyway, yep, we're cutting pretty well close now to top of descent. We're 6 minutes to 22 out for our descent into Bali, and for getting at our initial approach fix at Kuta, 3,000 feet. While I'm thinking about it, I should mention that I'm still learning this aircraft, of course, and I'm probably going to have to find a good tutorial from one of the guys who puts these out, just to work out my VREF speeds, the approach. I'm still looking at performance notes there, trying to sort it out. All I do know is that it likes full flaps for landing, and it doesn't like any flaring to go on. So I managed to butter a landing the other day, but again, that was just all guesswork, and that'll be the same here. Now as we approach now at 5 minutes, this is where we now set our intended altitude to match that of the initial approach fix at Kuta. All we have to do here is go in there, use our keyboard, put in 3,000 feet and enter it. If you don't do that, of course, it won't go down. And all of you out there who use a G1000 will know you've got to get it right. We have to watch our speed too, because obviously as the aircraft descends, the speed will go up. Now this thing on the front I call an annunciator. I've just checked it. It's a crew alert panel. I think it's a CAS, crew alert system, something like that. I'll learn to do the correct pronunciation of that. Looking at 3 minutes and 39 now, you can actually set the vertical nav 5 minutes before you reach the top of descent. So we'll do that now. I'll hit the VNav, and straight away you'll see it comes up in white here, VPath. Now what it should do, I'm hoping it's going to do it for me, because some of the flights I've been doing lately, I've been having a lot of problems activating VPath, so I've got my fingers crossed. So we've set it up. I would have liked some targets to come in here. I just got this sneaking feeling that it's not going to work for me today. I'm hoping that it will, because it sets some altitudes there for me for some of these waypoints. Anyway, we'll notice, we'll see something happening shortly. It's just following the route, the GPS route there. So we're coming down to 1 minute 55 now. I believe it should activate over here at 1 minute, and if it doesn't, I'm in big trouble. Looks like I've got everything switched on so that it should activate. Let's see what happens now. It's coming up on the 1 minute mark. Oh, there it is. That's good. That's a good sign for me. And you can see there's a Lara head here, and what should happen is at 30 seconds it should start to come down. Yeah, looks like things are working a lot better here than they were for me the other day. So it may not be 30 seconds, it may be... is it going to work? It's not going to work. Oh yes it is. Look at that, it's coming down now. That's what I want to see. Now this will change over to Alt as it gets in. Now it'll start to descend. Now there we go, Alt. So got to remember to come back on your throttles because she wants to go down. So what do I want to maintain? We've got a fair way to go. We've got something like just looking at the distance, it's about 50. I don't know why I'm getting the limit. I'll turn off the going to turn off the CAS CAC. That's better. That's some sort of engine control. I'm still studying that, so don't ask me to explain it. I can't. Anyway, down we go. Let it, when she gets down to about 270, I'll just try and even out the speed. There we go. It's just about there, a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see this Osciva waypoint. It should reach that waypoint at, it looks like 21900 because it's back calculating. Well, let's see if it's right. It's got 11 nautical miles to go and it should be at say 2019, which is roughly about flight level 220. Yeah, while she's going down, I've got to get a little bit of information about the weather conditions. I kind of hope that it hasn't changed direction like it does on me. I'll just check on my charts here. Yeah, the weather's still right for 09 and QNH is going to be 1010. Transition night should be 11, the same as it was for Jakarta. That's about all I need now for the moment. So let's see how we're going here. Osciva 4.5, and we should hit that, like I said, 22,000 or 21,900. There you go. That makes a turn. And that shows us pretty well close to the mark. Might not be exactly dead on, but yeah, according to the VNAV here, we should be getting to the bottom of descent in 9 minutes, meaning we should be at 3,000 feet at Kuta. Everything's going okay so far. All the time we've got to watch our speed. Again, this aircraft doesn't have auto throttle. And as we get a little bit lower, what we can also do is check out the temperature outside. Still TAT's -12, but it won't be far off that we can turn off our anti-ice. Just looking at our fuel flows, see how now, because we're on the descent and idling back, we're not using a lot of fuel for that. Fuel flow is only about 78 kilograms per hour, and we still got plenty left in our tank. Over here you can see we haven't used a lot at all. Oh sorry, we have used quite a bit, but we still got 523 kilograms left, which shouldn't be a problem. And our next waypoint is Lusby, and according to this it's another 33 nautical miles away, and it's anticipating that we'll be on or about, it's very hard to read there from my eyes, that's 5,000 feet. So it's got quite a bit of descending to do. Let's look outside. And we might see something here to show us coming in, maybe. Where are we? Haven't appeared on there quite yet. Oh, I think we should be coming in from this way. There's the T3 airway there that we were having fun with early on. Yeah, so distance to Lusby is up here, of course, 24 nautical miles. What I just noticed too, that we should always be synchronizing our heading in case things were to go wrong with the nav. We wouldn't want to be switching the autopolar on off, we'd be all over the place. That at least would mean that we could maintain our direction. Coming down nicely. They're coming down at 1750 feet a minute. They're keeping our speed pretty good at 268. This aircraft, like I say, it really, it's a joy to fly. It maintains things. Now just get him out of the way for a minute, and you can see where I'll bring that in a bit. You can see we're heading there to Lusby and the Jakarta, and then we should be able to line up with the glide path on the RNAV approach. And coming in quite rapidly. Got a bit of a crosswind here off the nose, off the port nose, 4 knots, so it shouldn't cause us any problems. Have a quick look again at our status, our temperatures. There we are. Now we're down to 0 degrees, so what we can do is we can turn off our heating, windshield, our engines, and get them off. Can't see any reason to leave the windshields on. When we get down to Denpasar, down to the airport, we're looking at the outside temperature there of 29 degrees, quite warm, typical Bali weather. Okay, 11,000 is transition height. I've already checked, we've got a QNH of 1010. So we'll flick off the standard baro, and that's, we just have to scroll 1010 there, change our backup to 1010, and come into 10. Let's get our landing lights on. Now I believe, I just had a quick look, PED belts off is what the setting is on this signs outlet that it should be on. Coming down nicely, look at that. The magenta arrow there shows us that where our descent is even. We're nicely lined up for the descent. Now I've set the baro minimums at 280, so we should get a call out. Again, we've got another 3.7 nautical miles to go to Lusby, and we should be at just above, at or above 5,000, and that's published tide. So if we don't hit it 5,000 on the dot, it doesn't matter. Now we're doing our final turn into Kuta. And it says, well, Kuta, we know we've got to be 3,000 feet, and we've got 14 nautical miles roughly to get there. Speed still 266. I might drop it off a bit now that we're getting closer. Let's come down to, say, 240. We're actually looks like we're slightly lower than we should be, but that's okay. There's hardly anything in it. So I'm just dropping the speed back to, say, about 240. And then when we do our turn into Kuta, we should be at or above 3,000, and we can start doing the looking carefully at our approach. I don't think I need this flight plan up anymore. We can just watch ourselves come in here. 240 there for our speed. Let's have a look what's in front. We're still up a bit. We're still we're still at 5,000. Nearly 6. But we're coming down. Speed, I can come back a bit. And where are we showing up on here? Yep, there we're into here. I don't think we're going to show up on this one yet. No, doesn't matter. As I come to Kuta, I'm just going to let the speed drop off slowly, so that at Kuta we're getting close to roughly about and the 210. If we want to, we've got speed brakes here that we can throw out. Although I think from one of the flights I did the other day, if you over speed, I think they come out automatically. Come out here somewhere. Look at that. Sweet looking aircraft. So obviously when we level up, the speed's going to want to drop off. That's okay. We'll let it go down to 210 by itself. And because this is our initial approach fixed, and you can see on here, we're nosing into Kuta. I'm going to activate the approach. There we go. We're down to 300. She wants to drop down the speed a bit, and I'm going to hit the approach button already to see what happens. Just let the speed dropping off now by itself. Now our glide path activation should show up here. It should appear suddenly on the left. 190 knots. I'm just going to leave it at that. I must admit I've still got to study up on the proper flap settings. It's just been a hit and miss with me the last few flights. Just needs a lot more studying. Now, as long as we get the glide path activated here, which I would imagine this will change the colour. I'm going to take... Oh, sorry. She didn't like me doing that. I was going to take a flap setting, but she said, nope, don't do it. Yeah, we're still a way out. We're about 12 or 15 miles, nautical miles out, so I've got my fingers crossed that I'll get the glide path, otherwise it's going to be visual. And of course what we do is hit our synchronisation of our heading, so that if we've got to go on a heading. Okay, it's got 8 nautical miles, and we haven't picked up the glide path yet. And I've probably got that wrong, haven't I? Yeah, we should probably be down to 2,500. I think I missed it. Let's have a look. Oh, we're still high. Thought I would have captured it by now. Not showing any signs up yet. I don't know what's happened there. That's our initial approach fixes 3,000. We're too high. We are too high. This is probably going to turn out to be a missed approach. For some reason or other, we haven't captured the glide path. Gee, we've got clouds in the trees. Nope, no sign of it at all. What do we do? Okay. We'd better take over control. Let's get rid of the autopilot and we'll descend and hope for the best. I bet you I've overshot. Yeah, we've still got cloud cover, haven't we? Don't want to overspeed it. Yep, I think we've just passed over the airport. Yep. Oh, that was down at cloud. Yep, we missed approach. Okay, missed approach. I forgot to read that. I don't know why I didn't get that. Yeah, I'm trimming. Yes, I am. Missed approach. Missed approach. Missed approach. 2000 I think it was. I should have kept that on the left hand side there. Let's have a look. To that turn, it was a right turn. Okay, watch out, speed doesn't drop off too much. I don't know why I didn't pick up the glide path then. Should be at about 2000 it said. Keep an eye on my speed, don't want to drop off too much. That's because I've got the flap down.
High speed. High speed.
So I've got to bring the speed back. It shouldn't be up at 100. There you go. She likes it better at that sort of. Whoops. Straighten up. Let's come down a bit slightly. So I'm using my MFD there just to see exactly where I'm at. And straighten her up there a little bit now. Try and keep that altitude up at about 2. I'm not using autopilot or go around with this, so or toggle with it. So
high speed.
Okay, all right.
High speed.
So you want me to get that flap up? Okay, all right. Yeah, she's little bit quirky. I got that blasted flight director on. Yeah. I didn't expect that low cloud too. That sort of threw me a bit. I could use autopilot heading here, but I'll just I'll keep it hands on for the moment. Make sure I get up to that 2,000 feet mark. And lift her up a bit. Got a message. Split airport for Microsoft Flight Sim. I know Split, that's in Split, Croatia, is it? It's on the Adriatic coast. I've actually been there in many years ago to Split way before the Kosovo War and all that stuff. Beautiful place. That and Dubrovnik. Pretty certain Split's Croatia nowadays. It used to be Yugoslavia back in the day. Okay, let's get a turn going. That's it. This has certainly turned out to be a lot longer flight than I anticipated, but anyway. If you haven't been bored out of your mind by now watching this, thanks for staying. I've still yet to land, haven't I? All is not over yet. We'll start to drop our speed off just a little bit here because I'm going to see if I can put down our first flap without the lady complaining. Might just raise things up just a tad. Now we should be lining up around here somewhere. Okay, speed down a bit. Just see if I can catch the airport in sight. I think it's more over this way. I'm not lined up properly there. Now I've taken one flap setting. Come over this way a bit. I'm just going by my MFD at the moment. And 1700 feet. Now I think if I straighten up a bit. Gee, we've got some low cloud here, haven't we? Yeah, keep the speed up. I don't want to drop it off too much. No, I'm still not lined up. Damn that cloud. That is low. Now we should be able to straighten her up a bit. See if I can get below this cloud. Come on, airport, show up. There's that runway for me. Alright. Slightly over here to the right it should be. Where are you? Just watching my speed very closely there. 1800 feet. I might have to just drop it down a bit. Otherwise I'm not going to see a goddamn thing. Hell, that is low cloud. Oh, come on. And I think I see it. Alright, let's get our gear down. That's it, they're slightly to the right there, see it? Okay, I'm going to drop the speed off now. There we go. Come back on the throttle. Do a nice liner. Just out of curiosity, I might hit...
Flaps.
Yeah, I know.
Flaps. Too high. Too high.
No, I'm not.
High speed. High speed.
Approaching 09.
Speed.
Too high. Too high.
I don't need you to tell me that.
500. 400.
Now, as long as we land on the runway, not on the taxiway, otherwise I'll never live it down.
300. Minimums.
Yeah, continue.
200. 100.
Over a bit that way. That's a girl. Come on down there. That's it. Nice and gentle. Nice and gentle does it. Down we go. Long landing. Go on, tell me. Yeah, hard landing. But also a long landing. Well, butter it one day, hard landing the next. And she's slowing down. I think we'll run probably all the way to the end there, because I think oh no, I should have gone off there. Next one out we'll get all over the place like a... And I think there's a turn off up here for us. Some serious braking then. Well, at least we're down. And we can get that a taxi. Beauty. Welcome to Bali. Forget the name of the airport, but it's the town is Denpasar, and we're going to find a place to well, plenty to choose from. I don't think there's any gates at Bali. Doesn't look like it. Okay, let's get our flaps up. I think it's a matter of take our pick, eh? I noticed too that I flared that, and that in the guides it says don't flare this aircraft. Let's go in here, eh? Nice looking buildings. I don't think there's any marshals here to guide us. Oops, I missed that line, didn't I? Should have tried and steer it from the outside like that. Anyway. Good enough. Alright, first off, let's not blind anybody with the taxi light. And it was pretty bright at that. Make sure we put our parking brake on. Don't need you anymore, fellow. And what we should do is just have a quick look at the landing, and then I'll go through all of switch off procedures. I'm just curious. It was a hard landing. It shouldn't not going to be too far down the track with this, is it? Oh, look at that low cloud. That was driving me mad. See how the air brakes came out by themselves. I didn't activate them. See, they're going up and Yeah, they activated by themselves. I didn't activate it. That's one little feature of this aircraft. It's a little bit better there. I had a little bit better control. Yeah, the air brakes are still out. See how hard this was. Yeah, see, I flared it and you're not supposed to. So that made it a hard landing. Now, there's no reverse thrust on this aircraft. It's all relies on brakes to pull it up. Let's go back quickly and have a look on from this view. We'll see how hard that was. Yeah, you can see the flare. Should never have done that. Here we go, see, flared and whoa. And of course when you do that you come down hard. Yeah, you see the air brakes are out. If she's still got a smile on her face, she's happy with that landing. Is she smiling? Yeah. Yep. I'll take that, she said. I think those spoilers actually do, when I stop, I think they drop down by themselves. There you go. So that's something I noticed the other day when I was doing the landing. Pretty good. Let's take this back and one more look from the tower. Okay, stop right there and we'll go there to here. That's a nice airport there, look at that. The landings never look quite so bad from the towers as they do when you're close up. Gee, look at that back, that was a flare. Oh, you can see that was hard. Don't think I'd get a good passenger rating for that landing. Okay, that's our replay. Jeez, we've been going 3 hours, oh boy. Alright, everything's done. To turn our engines off, we just, what I will do, we may as well do this properly, we'll just call up the GPU. I've got to do this first up here. Bring him out. Open the GPU panel, ground power unit on, make it available, just check that we've got it, which we have, because this thing pops up automatically when you do that. So that means we've got our power on. First off now we just stop the engines, turn them off. Okay, we don't need some of this stuff now. Alright, we don't need the generators. We don't need pneumatics at the moment. We don't need our pumps. Hydraulics we don't need. That we don't need. Everything else is right. ELT, well, we don't need to touch that. Windshields are already off. I think we reset this back to off. Yep, and it's telling us everything is off. So not much more we need to do. Oh yes we do, we've got to go up here and turn off the damn strobe. and we'll put off our nav because, and our emergency lighting, and we can switch off our batteries, so everything should go off here. Did it go off? Yeah. Oh, maybe it doesn't go off because we've got the GPU going. Yep, that's gonna be what it is. So if oh yeah, we better let people out, eh? Let them get out. Open the passenger door like so. Let them get their luggage over that side as well, the aft bag here, and they should be rushing off in a hurry to get away from my terrible touchdown. And there we go. And I suppose if I want to, for cold and dark, there it is, generators there. If we want to, we can say goodbye to him and close the panel. And there we have it. And that's it. That was from Jakarta to Bali in the Aerobask Phenom 300. Sorry for the length that took to film, but to record. But I had, as you could see, I had a lot of problems with the entering the route in, and of course with the missed approach that dragged things out a bit. But otherwise, everything seemed to go okay with climb and with descent using the Phenom. Problem, of course, I wasn't able to use the RNF approach. I obviously did something wrong, and someone will probably pick me up on it, and it's okay, let me know if I did something wrong. But okay, that's it. Until the next time, see ya.